Welcome, everyone. We're so pleased to have you here today. I am Donnie Montague.
I'm Gary Montague.
And we are so excited to be here today with Nancy Callan. We just recently began representing Nancy, and we are so thrilled to do that. And we're very, very pleased that we were able to really begin our partnership together by mounting this amazing show, Phenomena. And today we will walk through the show, and then we will have an opportunity to visit Nancy's studio, and we'll get to see also more of her incredible work there. And please feel free to ask questions anywhere along the way via the chat function. Gary is going to be monitoring the chat, and we will certainly be able to answer questions, and we'll get to as many as we can. So let's get started. For those of you, I think probably most of you know Nancy Callan lives in Seattle. She's been a glass artist for 25 years, and she worked with Maestro Lino Tagliapietra for 19 years. And I think about 7 years ago, Nancy struck out on her own. So welcome, Nancy. Hello.
Thanks, Donnie. Hello. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining in on this Zoom call, and I hope it will be interesting and enlightening. It's really nice to be working with Donnie and Gary, and to have a show up actually in San Francisco. It's the first time I've ever shown my work in San Francisco, and it was so much fun actually going to the opening, and really exciting to have the work out of the studio in such a beautiful setting. I mean, if anybody gets a chance to go see the show in person, I highly recommend it. And there's a lot of other really great art in the studio space too. And it's worth the trip to see Donnie and Gary, and they're just such great hosts. And, also I wanted to mention Gabby is, she's been fantastic to work with as well. So she mans the phone a lot, and she's very knowledgeable and super helpful. So they've got a great team going, and a beautiful location. I got to stay at was it the Marriott? Yeah. Marriott. I stayed at the Marriott, and when we were pulling up, I looked over to the left. I was like, oh my God, there's my work. It was like in the window. It looked awesome. And then we were up on the 24th floor, and I could actually look down and see my work in the window, which was really cool. So yeah, it was, it's been really great because, as everyone has felt it, like, COVID has really changed what we do and how we do it. And it just felt like a little bit of normalcy.
Yeah.
Which is so good.
And for Gary and Gabby and myself, it has just been an absolute delight to work with Nancy. Nancy is not only incredibly talented and creative, but she is a lot of fun. So it's made this effort very, very special for us. And we are fortunate to have this space here in San Francisco. But I gotta say, Nancy, your work just shines in this space. It's really incredible. And as Nancy said, getting to see the work in person it makes a difference. And we're going to do all we can to provide you with the experience of being here. But if you get a chance to come to San Francisco between now and April 30th, please do, and come and see the work, because Nancy's work, I think in particular, the way that it interacts with light and changes throughout the day or based on what the weather is. I mean, it's, you can't quite appreciate the work for what it really looks like and how you can really experience it unless you get a chance to see it in person. So, but like I said, we'll do the best we can. Nancy, just to start out with, you've been a glass artist for 25 years now. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a glass artist, and then how you you continued to grow over the years to get to where you are today?
Sure. Well, I started out doing graphic design right after high school, and I was self-taught, so everything was done by hand. And I decided I wanted to go and learn how to use the computer to be more competitive in my field. And so I applied to Massachusetts College of Art, and I got in, and I took a computer class, and I took a ceramics class, and I fell in love with ceramics. Like a lot of artists do. A lot of glass artists actually start out in ceramics. And I loved working with my hands and working 3-dimensionally. It felt like I was kind of home, like there was always something missing with graphic design for me. I think it was the physicality, and also just working 3-dimensionally was like just opened up so many doors. And speaking of opening up doors, I was walking around the studio one night, and I opened up the door to the glass studio, and that was it. It was like love at first sight. And I ran back to the kiln room, asked my friends what they were doing, and they said, that's glass blowing. You would love it. So I ended up taking my first class, and just absolutely knew that that's what I wanted to do. I remember waking up one night, I was like soon after I started blowing glass, and I just woke up in the night and I said, I want to be a great glass blower. And that was it. I'm just like, so I was a little bit older. I did graphic design for like 8 years after high school. So I was 30 when I started blowing glass, and I knew how difficult glass blowing was, and I wanted to be a really good glass blower. So I kind of set my sights high, and I saw that Lino was teaching a class. I had actually applied for his class 2 other times and didn't get in. I mean, I had only been blowing glass for like a year, and he was teaching in Corning at the studio. It was the grand opening of the studio, and I was so excited that I got in, and I thank Amy Schwartz for that. And when I saw Lino blow glass, I was just like, oh my God, like magic, I want to learn from him. So I just kind of did everything I could to make him notice me. And then he asked me to stay and help him make his work in Corning. And then he was also going to the glass conference, which was hosted at my school. So I was graduating Mass Art. We were having the glass conference. Lino was going, and I kind of kidded around, and I said to my friends, oh yeah, Lino's going to call me from the bandstands to bring him a punty. And basically that's kind of what happened. When we were leaving Corning, he said, oh, Nancy, you take my tools, help me in Massachusetts. And I was just like, oh my God, yes. So I had Lino's tools, and I drove down to Massachusetts, and that's when I first started working with Lino. And he also got me a job working at a studio in Seattle where they made production lighting. So I had a job. I didn't know anybody in Seattle. It was so I drove my car cross country, my dad's Cadillac Eldorado, and I started working with Lino. And it was amazing, super humbling too. Because I had no idea, like I figured I'd be here for a year and like see what they knew and then go back home. And I was just like, man, there are so many amazing glass blowers here. This is where I need to be. And so I just started like integrating in the community, and it's such an amazing community too. Like everybody is so generous, everybody shares. And so it's been amazing living in Seattle. So I've been here for 23 years or something like that. I don't know. I've lost count after like the year that went by that I didn't go back home. Just like I'm here to stay. And I'm so happy here. So, so I worked with Lino for 19 years, and I got to travel the world and be his assistant and, really like learn the Venetian techniques and learn from probably the greatest glass blower in the world, and work side by side with him for 19 years. And he was an amazing teacher. And it was so eye-opening, like going to different places and realizing like what I had here in Seattle with like so many opportunities to go watch different people blow glass. Like if you ever have a question, everybody's so generous, call up Dante Marioni. Dante, how would you do this? And, he's happy to like take the time and answer your questions or invite you over to his studio to watch him blow glass. And yeah, so it's a great community.
Gary and I absolutely experienced that being new, really. We jumped into this from completely outside the glass world when we opened the gallery 5 years ago, and the community was so welcoming. It's very, very special. And I think that, Nancy, your journey says a lot about your gumptions. And, I love how you said you woke up in the middle of the night and said, I'm going to be a great glass artist. I mean, sort of a manifesto there. And, you're going to make it happen because everybody wants to work with Lino. I mean, come on, right? And yet, out of everybody, you made it happen. And so that says a lot about you.
Thanks.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the show. We're going to do a walkthrough, but before we do, can you sort of give us a little bit of an overview of what we're going to see and talk about the meaning behind our name of Phenomena?
I really like the name Phenomena because it gives you a sense of mystery and wonder. And for me, that's what life is all about. Like, I feel like I walk through the world and just marvel at all the wonders, all like in nature, in insects, in everything. Everything is like just so amazing. Textiles, like, I don't know. There's so many things to explore. And I think there's so many like magnificent things that are, it stirs your senses. It's not like an intellectual thing. It's just primal. And I feel like for me, glass blowing is kind of the same thing. It's like, sometimes I just can't even believe that you can like do the things that you do in glass. It's like, it's mind blowing to me. Some of the things that we'll see in the show, I'm like, I don't even know how that happened. It's just like, whoa, you have like these magical moments. And so I just thought that name really fit. It's just it's kind of a mysterious, wonderful thing. So that's where the name came from. And, when we decided to have the show and we did like a Zoom meeting of your space, like I was really excited about all the natural light that was coming in. And, I actually had quite a bit of work in my studio to select a body of work. And that doesn't always happen. Because of COVID times, like I've had less shows. They're like Sofa has been canceled, the different art shows. And I had I had one show in 2020 with the Hellers, and then I haven't had an exhibition since. So, but I've continued to make work, and I've continued to like really experience and experiment and just push the boundaries with things. I kind of feel like a glass athlete sometimes, just really like pushing my body, pushing the boundaries, and like just not taking no for an answer from the glass. I just want to like, see what she can do.
See how much you can push it, because she's going to have her own mind.
She does. And it's quite a collaboration too. Like, I feel like it is my greatest collaboration is with the glass, because you are working together. There's things that she wants to do, things that you want to do. And, negotiating that is it's a major collaboration, I think. Yeah.
I've never heard anyone describe it as a negotiation. And I love that, because really that's what it is.
It kind of is. Yeah.
Fascinating.
I love this comment from Jennifer. Glass leaf. We created a new term.
Glass leaf. I love it. I love it. Glass leaf.
Okay, we are going to now move into the walkthrough.
Let's go talk about that droplet in the window. Let's start with that. Firefly. So when I was a child, I remember this time of day. It's called, I love this word. It's called the gloaming, and it's like dusk. And I remember like watching the fireflies and just being like so enamored with them just flying around. And how did that work? How did they make those sparks? And then I would try to like catch them in a bell jar, and I'd watch them in the bell jar. Of course, I always set them free. But this piece, after I finished this piece, it kind of just took me back to that time with the fireflies. And it's just, I think it's just like that neon green that you get. You can really see it. There it is. Those like special moments in the piece where it's just like this vibrant, like explosion of color, and there's like just so much movement too. And so this is from my droplet series. As you can see, the surface has been sandblasted and then hand sanded to give it this really beautiful satiny feel. And one thing that I love and that I knew these pieces would work great in the windows is because they really catch the light in so many great ways.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you, Donnie, and you were like, "Oh, we're not really sure about putting them in the windows." I'm like, "No, wait till you see
one of them in particular. One in particular, which we'll see here on our other window. I think it's amazing that. So you look at this piece just in terms of color, because I love how you work with color and the rich colors and subtle colors that you use. And you're combining colors in really interesting ways. So the fact that there is like a chartreuse green in this, because you look at it and it looks orange and it absolutely glows like a firefly. But then to know that there is this green that gives it, that's part of what is giving it, this extra layering and dimensionality that's really special.
Yeah. In this series, I'm really playing with colors, and I kind of feel like my work is getting a little bit more painterly too, and I'm really trying to get unique colors. And like, who would have ever thought of mixing lime green with orange? Right. Like I just would not have thought to do that. But then there were like a couple chips of the two colors on my light table. And I was like, oh, this might be really interesting. And my partner, Julie, is a painter, and she was just like, yeah, I think you should go for it.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm going to try it. It's risky business, but I really love the orange that it created too.
Yeah.
It's like, a painter doesn't usually just squeeze the paint out of the tube and then go from there. You know, they like to mix the paints together. And that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing with the glass. I'm kind of mixing the colors together and seeing what I get.
Yeah.
And in the droplet series, they're multi-layered. Yeah, let's go to Ember's droplet.
Let's go to yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have more subtleties in this one, you know, as we're talking.
Yeah. And I love this. I love this kind of brownish bronze color that I'm getting with, you can see the purple. So I'm mixing purple. There's a color fade of purple in the top and then a reverse fade of amber on the bottom. And so what I'm doing is I'm making multiple layers. I'm making layers with the cane, the white cane on top, and also these blow through color combinations. So again, when you're walking around the piece, you're experiencing so many like hidden gems in there. Like you really see that amber popping on those interior cane pieces.
Yeah.
So the cane pieces they're all white when I start out, but it's just because like that layer of cane, that inner layer of cane is in back of the transparent yellow. Alex, will you grab me that cup?
Do you mean that all of the cane is white?
Yes, all of the cane is white.
Because these pieces where it looks like, or places where it looks like it's amber, it's not the cane.
No, it's the color. So here's an orange color cup. So what happens is that, say I have this is like a long piece of the little tubular canes. So I chop these up and make a pattern out of these, and it's hollow on the inside. Anyway, so if the cane is behind, see how it turns orange? Yeah. Right. So basically that's it. I'm taking a pattern on the blowpipe. Everything's hot. I'm taking that pattern on the blowpipe and stuffing it inside of here.
Yep.
And there's also color behind the cane cup too. Like the purple was the first color. And then the cane is on top of the purple, and then all of that goes inside of here. And then all of that goes inside a giant cup. Of course, the canes are going in a different direction. But then, so the orange will go inside of that with all of the stuff that's inside of that. And that's how I build up color. It's so easy. Everybody can do it.
Well, the magical properties of glass, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I love working with transparencies, because you can just like get these amazing effects with this layering. And it's something that came from actually a mistake in the hot shop. I made a mistake and I had to like innovate. And then so that led to this like double stuff, which is now a triple stuff. But anyway,
that's great.
Yes.
Let's move on to Aurora.
Yes.
So, all right. So we were looking at this the other day on my iPad, and the ambient light was sort of not playing very well compared to what you could see. I think we're getting a pretty good view of it now. This piece is just extraordinary. And this is the story that Nancy started to tell, because we had this conversation about whether I should put this in the window or not. And our window is very difficult to light. And so, you know, it's the most challenging place to put work in the gallery. And this is a very special piece. It's a signature piece of the show. And I said, I don't know if we want to do that. And then when we were unpacking and starting to set up for the show, we put it in the window, and it was just like, oh my goodness, it just glows. So,
and it's really hard to see it, because what's happening right now is the camera is picking up that really bright light behind it.
Yeah.
Like when you see that piece in person with the light coming through it, you're seeing it much better than what we can do right here. But yeah, this is a new piece, as a new form for me. I'm calling this series Spires, and I really love the shape. It's a great, oh yeah, that's a nice angle right there. It's a great way to showcase these color fades. Mm-hmm. You can see like this, it's going from this beautiful blue into, it makes a little bit of like a purpley color, and then into this pink. And then not only do you get that great color fade, but then you get these like neon, like turquoise color, which is like, where did that come from? You know? And those are like,
that's my favorite part.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
It's incredible. But
I don't even know how it did that. You know, it's crazy. It's just so it's a phenomenon.
Yeah, it is.
You know, yeah.
Aptly titled Aurora.
I'd like to interrupt. I saw this piece before it went public, and it is just so totally spectacular.
Oh, thanks, Gary. Yeah, Gary unpacked everything. He said it was like Christmas.
No, this is Dave McCubry. I was out in your studio. And those that piece, I was torn between that and the one I purchased, and just the colors and the color fade and everything was just so lovely. You can't even tell how good it is from this video.
You can't. We're going to show a couple of shots that I took off of my camera phone at the end of the walkthrough, just so that you all can get a little bit better idea of it. And then this piece is also in the e-blast that you received for our Zoom today. And if you look at that photo, you'll see, you know, when it's fully lit, it again looks just completely different. So,
hi, Dave, by the way.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, we're going to move over here to Labyrinth and Mesmer's Tear.
Yeah, these are also from a new series, and I'm really playing with spiral wraps. And one thing that I really love about these pieces is I'm like playing with the line density, the thickness of the lines, and how they cross over each other. So you get these spots in the piece where your eye just like gravitates to, where there's like a little bit of overlap, a little moire. And I'm bringing you into these focal points too, with the spiral coming in towards it's not quite the center. I've like offset them a little bit. But they're very, cocoon-like, or they seem like it would be something that you would find in nature, which I love. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mesmer's Tear is actually named after a pioneering hypnotist. His name was Mesmer, and I kind of feel like these pieces tend to be a little hypnotic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and these are also flattened, as you could see when you were panning around them. They're squeezed with the corks.
Right. And they also have this glow about them that comes through in your work. In particular, the way from the color you use, and then the way that you're finishing it with the hand sanding, the sandblasting, and then hand sanding.
Yeah, and they really actually play off of each other too.
They do.
I feel like they capture each other's light, and and the one on the left is actually a very special color. That's Labyrinth. It's a very special color that was made in Corning, and it's it's like a neodymium color. So it actually changes a little bit in the light. It goes from like a more bluish to a little bit purpley pinkish color. Yeah.
And again, depending on, the time of day and the kind of light that's coming in, like up here on the left side is where some of the, we see some of the pink come through in a pink glow. And depending on the light, it's more or less intense.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I love how as I'm pulling the tops of them, as I'm finishing the pieces, I love how the lines just move with the shape of the piece too. That draws the line up into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to the third droplet in the show. Ethereal.
Yeah. This is a really special one too. This one is not as much about the color fades as it was. I wanted to really make those interior, and I call them anemone canes, that interior anemone cane to really pop. And I love using gray glass, and I love this blue color. And I just really wanted to, it was kind of just a study in color for me. And I think it's really beautiful how it feels like the little blue ones are just kind of suspended back there and just floating. Yeah. There was so much movement.
Right.
Without the piece moving, there's still so much movement. And there's I really like to play with the density of the canes on top and underneath. So you get, you get these different dense moments and like see-through moments. Some of them look kind of ghostly. Some of them are brighter. And yeah, I just really like to play with that aspect.
Can you also talk a little bit, Nancy, about your concept with the droplets?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody sees them as different things. Like some people they say, oh, it looks like ziti. And some people will say it looks like clouds, in the sky, or it looks like anemones, and for me, the form, I always try to have a marriage between the form and the design that I'm putting on the pieces. And I really thought this really beautiful, elegant droplet form was the perfect host for these pieces, for these anemone canes. And, I kind of thought, oh, what would it be like? What would I see if I was looking into a microscope? What would I see in a droplet of water? And this is kind of like my abstracted idea of what that could be. I like to think about different things and just kind of abstract and kind of make my own story of things that I don't understand or I wonder about.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, we're going to move to the first in the panels that we're showing. This is Energy Map, which is a diptych.
It's a diptych. Yes, it is. And it's, the next series of panels that we're going to look at are black and white. And I've done quite a few in black and white, but this is I haven't done that many colored panels, and I haven't done that many color panels with a transparent color. So I just want to say that the panels are actually blown glass as well. And a lot of people think that they're just flat glass with fused cane on top, but they're not. So I think one of the things that is really interesting about how I make these is I have a cane design that I want to, that I'm thinking about doing. I wanted, on the piece on the left, I was thinking about kind of the path that you would find on a log that maybe that maybe like a little termite burrowed through. You know how you see those like little maps of the little lines of where the little insect has been? Or I was thinking about like the flight of a bumblebee, or it's just different ideas of pathways. And so I made some crazy cane, and I rolled up the cane, and then I also so I had to create the pink, and the pink has, as you can see, it has like different densities in it too, and that's because it's transparent. And when you're in the process of like pushing the color back, you can get darker spots or lighter spots. And I'm also backing it with white glass, so it really pops. So there's white behind that transparent pink, and then inside of the transparent pink, I'm putting this cane design. So basically, imagine that again, here we are. I have white on the outside, pink on the inside, and then I have a separate pipe here with the pattern, with the white pattern. And then I put that on the inside. And then I can't see my pattern anymore. All I have is like this white bubble. And then I make a cylinder out of that. So I blow a cylinder, and I cut the bottom off, and then I cut along the sides. So it has like it's got a little bit of an opening here. So this is my glass cylinder. And then I put it into the kiln like this and bring it up to temperature. And then it slowly opens up like this. And then you can see my pattern is on the inside, right? And one of the reasons why I do that is because I want to keep the dimensionality of the cane. And maybe you can like zoom in a little bit. There's different viscosities in glass, and there's like these really stiff colors, like the white. You can get a soft white, you can get a stiff white. And I'm playing with the really stiff white, and it holds the line so incredibly. Like you can actually feel that, can't you?
There's texture. Yes, There's texture that you can see and feel.
Yeah, and if it was on the back and I opened it up in the kiln, it would just flatten all of that. So when it's on the front, it allows the cane to just stay raised. You're not flattening things out with it. Mm-hmm. And I really just love these two pieces together because there's almost like an ordered chaos in the one on the left. And then you have like, it almost looks like music or sound waves on the one on the right. It's like, and they just flow into each other so beautifully, I think. The piece on the right is a really dense blue color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the colors are so beautiful and beautiful together. And I think here in the gallery, they look fabulous on this dark gray wall that we have. But also, if they were on a white wall, they would really pop.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think they look great. They can really live on any color.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move over to the other panel wall.
Yeah, this one is called schema.
Nancy, tell us the definition of schema.
Schema, it's a group of independent but related elements. So, and I like the name for this because, I mean, I love this piece as a group. I think it is just, it's a beautiful statement. Each piece relates to another. Your eye like just goes around and around, and you just find so many magic moments in each panel. But you also, your mind just starts making relationships to the panel next to it, or the panel across the way, or And I think that because it's all in black and white, it goes together so beautifully. But also I think that a lot of the pieces could, stand on their own. So, and they could also, like a lot of times I will show the panels in a big grouping, and then, somebody will be like, well, I have a limited space. What 3 panels would you put together? This is my space. What do you think would look good in that space? And then we can kind of deconstruct the original and make something out of 3 or 4 panels, or even 1 panel, standing alone. So what
this means is that we have options.
Yeah, we have options. We love options.
We love options, and we'd love to work with any of you who can imagine 1 or more of these on your wall.
Yeah, and it's really fun to like take a picture of a space that you have, and then like Photoshop the panel in the space, or the panels in the space, and really like create something special for, a specific site.
You can really see the texture, I think, right here, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that white is just so strong. And also the one below it too. That's a really cool piece. It's got like, I love thinking about textiles and like the deconstruction of the fabric. Mm-hmm. And I play a lot with that in my work.
And then moving up to these
oh,
two.
Yeah, this one reminds me a little bit of calligraphy, or like a spool of thread unwinding. I'm going to show you a piece in my studio that I made it with a similar technique, but you'll see how different it looks on a sculpture. I love this one. This one's called Chip Weave. And it's really about like the deconstruction of fabric, and and like how the gravity. So I feel like I'm a really good drawer when I make these panels, because they feel like drawings to me, and I'm actually not that good of a drawer. So it's like kind of makes me feel better about myself that I can make these like amazing drawings in class. And I think, something to note about like going from an idea in your head, like, like that piece, like the one with the more subtle cane, it kind of looks like pinwheels in a way, the one next to the tornadoes. Yeah, that one. So in my mind, like it was going to be more like a pinwheel, like the lines were going to be straighter, and I had like, and I had the straight cane. And then when I blew it into a 3-dimensional shape, it did like extraordinary things. And it was so much better than what I could have even imagined or what I could have drawn. So that's one thing that it's really exciting about these pieces, is like going from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional and then back to 2-dimensional.
Yeah. And I think having the opportunity I hope you all see that, looking at them close up, and then thinking back to Nancy's description of how she creates these pieces is really extraordinary. To think that she's creating a cylinder, she's putting the pattern inside the cylinder, and then she's cutting the bottom and the side so that it's going to open up in the kiln, and then she's getting these incredible drawings in glass. It is exciting.
It is exciting. You know what? I actually have a really cool video that I self-produced. It's on my website, or Donnie can share if anybody wants to see it. And it really focuses on the cylinders and the making of the cylinders. So if anybody wants to see that, you can go to my website, or you can ask Donnie and Gary to share that with you.
So we're going to move along because I know time is
Oh my
moving.
God. Time is
Flying.
gone. Okay,
Time
let's talk
flying.
quickly about this. I love this piece, and I'm so happy that it found a home.
Mm.
And it's from a series I called String Theory, and I'm doing some crazy things with these lines. This one's called Spin Echo, and it's actually done with the same technique as you saw in the Labyrinth and Mesmer's Tear, except for I'm changing the axis every time I do a wrap. I do these roller wraps. And then to me, it's just magical the way the lines just compress. And I have like a little bit of an idea of how it's going to come out, but it's always, again, better than I could have expected for the most part. Yeah. And in my studio, I'm going to show you that pattern on a panel, which is really stunning. Let's go to,
let's go. I was just going to point out there's also some yellow, green, and other dimension here.
A little accent. Yeah. Let's go to Azor's Flame.
Yeah.
And this is again from the Spire series, a brand new work. And this one has a more subtle color fade to it. It's a green to pink. It's orange to pink. And it's the line work on this is really incredible. You can, Donnie, you can feel like how raised that black is. Yeah. Yeah. And it reminds me, and from here on the camera, it looks like it's like dented on the left side. It's not, it's just from the cane work. Yeah. Look at that. So it gives you these really cool optical illusions. Yeah. When you walk around it. And this cane work reminds me a little bit of smoke. So I kind of thought in the color, and the Azores are, they're islands near Portugal, and they actually have an active volcano right now. So I thought this was a good fit. That was a good fit for the name. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Sometimes naming the pieces is harder than making them. Just so you know, it is. Well,
and your names, you do a wonderful job with your names. So we are going to now switch back. And this is a picture that I took just on my camera phone of Aurora in the window. And this is another shot of it. And so you can see the light up at the top. It's changed just a little bit. And then here's a shot of the close-up shot, where you can see the aqua lines. Hey, hang on just 1 second, Nancy. Oh, here's Roxy.
She's shameless. Okay. Oh, here's Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Everyone, Alex Callan, also an artist represented at the Montague Gallery. Yes. Like I'm getting back.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, guys. So this is the panel that I was talking about. That is it's the same technique as the Spin Echo. But this is blown into a cylinder and then cut and then slumped open. It's really amazing. And again, like you can really feel the lines. There's so much dimension. There's probably 7 layers of dimension and line in this piece. It's pretty incredible. It's very kind of just takes you up on a trip. And if you were tripping out, you would be like, psyched. Okay. Oh, let's go over here. Here's a couple of new Spire pieces. So a lot of the work in the studio is brand new. I haven't even photographed these pieces yet. And they're quite large.
Look at the color fades on those. Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
they're beautiful.
And when you get, it's really hard to get that, on the camera. But when you're seeing them in person, they're just like, they just glow. And then this piece is a black and white piece. And I was thinking about like why I like working in black and white too. I was a graphic designer, as I said, and it's very like these pieces are just so graphic to me. And also, like, you don't have to think about the transparency. Basically, you just have like a kind of just a canvas to work on, like a opaque canvas, and you can just kind of like work with the lines, and you're not going to see anything from the back side. It's just purely like front on. And then the back side of this piece is actually very different from the front, which I love. And it's got that, remember I said that flourish piece, the one that I said that looked a little bit like calligraphy. Well, this it's that same technique. So basically, I pick up the cane and I'm twisting it and drawing a line on here that I melt in. And then you have this like beautiful black. It's almost like black ink.
It's really cool.
Thank you. It's even cooler in person. And I love like all the reflections that you can see too in that black.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then let's go over here. This is from my Callan series. And it's pretty large scale. These are very figurative works for me. And then we're going to go over here to some panels. These are brand new panels too, which I'm really excited about. And they're very, very ghostly. I'm drawing with these canes and like kind of making a composition, which is not easy to do in glass. And then again, I am blowing these into a cylinder shape and opening them up. So I'm drawing on a clear bubble, and then these are actually blue. I don't know if you can see that. They're that deep blue that's like in the energy map. It's a gorgeous color. And you see some of these anemones have like these little spirals around them too. There's so much motion and so many like little treasures, like this little guy here. It's really pretty amazing. And I love when they kind of overlap too.
Yeah. They are ghostly.
They are ghostly.
Yeah. So intriguing. Yeah. And I didn't realize they were the blue color, because it does look black on here. So that makes it even more interesting.
They're that beautiful midnight blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like little spirits yeah. Yeah, I really like this. It's a triptych. I really like this piece.
That's great.
Here's a new form and a new cane design. This is, I call this piece Lullaby, and I'm doing something a little bit different with the canes. This also has a color fade, which is really, it's a little bit harder to see, but yeah, it kind of goes from like the really rich blue to like a more like a little bit grayish blue. Then it gets a little darker at the top. And then I love this piece. This one is called Curie's Cone, and it's kind of what's the word? It's named after Madame Curie. I'm spacing. She discovered uranium. Thank you. There it is. She discovered uranium, and the color is just kind of reminds me of uranium. And I love this because it has this like really long spiral wrap. It's just like one unbroken line. And when you move around it, you just get these amazing moire effects. And then here we are on the wall that you probably saw a bunch of things when I was talking. And this has multiple series on it. A giant droplet, the blue is really beautiful, and then a new cloud. And then from my snowman series, this has kind of that smoky sort of look to it. He's called Smokey the Snowman. And this is another droplet with the lines going in a different direction. Mm-hmm. And they're really like cascading from the top down. This is, again, this one is a purple and amber color, but it came out lighter than the, am I yelling?
No.
It came out lighter than the than the amber's droplet that's in the gallery. So they're like, you see like the variation. It can be the same colors but come out completely different. And then I love this. This is called Isadora Paloma. And again, they're kind of more figurative pieces to me. And this one speaks to my love for textiles. Yeah. And it's just a really, really lovely piece. It's got some beautiful cross hatching and.
Your Paloma series and your clouds both remind me, because knowing that textiles is a big influence for you. Those two series in particular, for me, bring to mind textiles.
Yes, definitely.
And was that intentional?
Here. The clouds, not as much, no, but for sure the Palomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clouds for me are like, I don't know, I just think about like when the sun, like when the clouds like move over sort of the hills and valleys and like how the cane just kind of moves over the hills and valleys too as it's going along. They're kind of dreamy too because they have like this double layer going on. So you get a lot more colors than actually what's in it because they're overlapping. This is a piece called Hush. And this is also a new piece. And it's got some really, really
great
beautiful
color fade there.
Thank you. Yeah. And when that's in the window, it just really lights up. I like it. I like it in here too, because it feels like kind of a quiet piece, but there's so much going on in there. Mm-hmm. You can really get lost in that piece. Mm-hmm. And then another droplet top. I'm not going to talk about everything.
Yeah.
Just have a look.
Maybe you can back up just a little bit, Alex, so we could get a full view of the shelf.
Yeah, this is a really beautiful cloud too. It's hard because the light's not hitting it that bit.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yes.
You know, Nancy, go ahead.
Welcome to my studio.
Thank you for
ever in Seattle. Come on by. Come have a look.
Thank you for showing us around. And all of those pieces are also available. Is that correct?
Most of them, yeah.
Most of them are available. So if you have any interest in the pieces we've seen in Nancy's studio, or of course, work that's in Phenomena, please let us know here at the gallery, and we would love to help you. Nancy, you said a few minutes ago about how one of the pieces there, it looks sort of like a spire or smaller. I don't know what series that one's in, but you said it's a quiet piece, and but there's a lot going on. And I think that not all of your work is quiet, certainly, but what I find fascinating about your work is there is a lot going on. Like, you can get lost in every single one of your pieces. And it's been fun to experience it here at the gallery every day for this show. And every day you're drawn to a piece in a different way. You see something that you didn't see before. I think that is so that's such a wonderful part of your work is how you're able to accomplish that. Because if you're living with a piece, and those of you who own Nancy's work will certainly understand this as well, to be able to experience that every day and kind of have, a new connection to it, as you continue to live with it is pretty special.
That's a really nice comment. Thank you, Donnie. And, I too experienced that with the work. It's really nice to be able to live with the pieces for a little while. And sometimes I'll make something and I'll just be like, not sure about that, and then I'll have it in the studio for a little while. And then I just start to really find special things about it and really appreciate it and like it, it'll be an odd color or something, and I'll just think, oh, that doesn't really work. But then you just give it a little time and it's wow, that really grew on me,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can.
Do you guys want to answer? Do you want me to answer any questions? Or
do you all have any questions for Nancy? And if you do, let us know. I think we're at the moment we don't.
I'll say something that I have quantum graffiti, and just to relate to what was just being said, the draw of the lines up to the top is like a fade to infinity. And I just took a photo of it after having had it for 5 or 6 months, and these pieces are just so great. So that's all I'll say.
Thanks, David. That's so nice. And quantum graffiti was from that series that I was talking about with spin echo and string theory. Yeah, it's got kind of that similar technique on a black sculptural form.
Thank you for sharing that, David.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I think we could go on for another hour or more if we tried, but I think we need to. Nancy's saying no, but we could.
I think folks want to
Well, your work.
Might want to move on.
Your work is so fascinating, Nancy. We could certainly continue talking about it, but we won't, and we will let folks get on to your day. Let me wrap it up. And I just want to thank all of you for being with us today. And of course, we want to thank Nancy Callan for sharing her talent and her gift and herself with us. So, Nancy, thank you so much. The show, as I mentioned earlier, Phenomena, will be here through April 30th. So if you are in San Francisco, please come and see us. Thank you all. Thank you, Nancy.
Yes, and thank everybody. I'm thanking everybody for coming and tuning in and all your love and support. I really appreciate everybody and I'm really grateful for Donnie and Gary for pursuing having a show with me and making it happen. So thank you. And also thank you to Alex for running the camera.
Thank you, Alex.
All right. Well, signing off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.